All right, good evening, everyone. It's 6 p.m., November 14th, 2024. Welcome to the Southbridge Board of Health meeting. Relative to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20F, and for the benefit of the public, this meeting is being recorded by both video and audio methods. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Gus Steves.
Present.
Jasmine Quinones. Kevin Splain. Present. Gil Provost.
Present.
Roland LaRochelle.
Present. Okay, perfect. Number 3, consider and accept minutes for October 10, 2024.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions, additions, deletions, corrections, anything? Seeing
The only-
none?
Actually, the only thing I
Go
want
ahead.
to point out is under citizens forum, where it says that you let Charlotte know about that we are unable to grant discounts to anyone per the finance manager. I think it'd be probably clarified that it's actually because of the charter, isn't it? Really? Because it has to go to the council, not so much through the finance.
I don't think,
manager per se.
unfortunately, that came from Michelle, but
Yeah.
I don't think that the charter has been updated yet to reflect the curbside.
It hasn't, no, but I mean, it's just the fact that it's because it's a contract through the council that has to go through the council.
It's gotta go through the council,
Yeah.
and that was,
That was on 6, I think.
because I did have her, this was not, I don't. All right,
Although you did kind of say that down in item 6, no anything
It's
about the
in
council.
6.
It's in
I thought we
6.
did put
Can
that in
amend such
6
rating, so,
after.
yeah. So either way,
because I did
Council,
have her adjust this,
right.
on the reason why we took no action. Originally, there was no reason put in there, except we took no action, so I did send her an email to put the reason why.
That makes sense, okay.
So change needed or no?
I guess not, no.
All right, so all in favor of the minutes as written?
Abstain.
Okay, one abstain. All right, citizens forum. Anybody wants to speak of an issue that's not on the agenda? Seeing none? Oh,
You got me. Evening, everybody. Steve Gregoire, 555 Pleasant Street. I was just coming down tonight to ask for an update about the private well testing that I brought forth several months ago in and around the contamination of the landfill and airport.
Would you like to go?
from the last meeting, we had a discussion, I brought it upstairs to the town manager, and he said he was gonna seek local counsel and everything else.
Okay.
Because there was a concern, where does it end?
Mhm.
Do we not only test Pleasant Street? Why don't we test Gulford Road? And we haven't gotten I don't know if you did,
I have not.
updated
I have
wells,
not.
well testing. Cause I don't think they come out that frequent.
Not anything new. So we're waiting that, and that discussion will be had with the town manager. But what I do understand is that he would like to take a more of a scientific approach to this. Not only look at, the chemicals present, but the hydrogeology of the soils in the surrounding areas.
Mhm.
And how the aquifer runs and the groundwater actually moves direction, and what are the risks there that are present in the soil. So conclusively, more of a thorough evaluation of the situation.
Mhm.
All right?
And I know, in your, wearing your other hat, we have the issue in Charlton with 2
Mhm.
more wells,
Mhm.
but that's a whole different contract, and that's not even at the reportable quantity. But neither was anything else, and I understand your concern,
Mhm.
and if you wanna talk later off camera, or you wanna talk on camera, it's up to you. But, I took it upstairs, and like Dan said, he's got that, and
Okay.
we were given our marching orders.
Sure. Just relevant
Now,
to it.
and understand something, this is a Board of Health. Personally, I could give 2 squats about financing to a point.
Right.
I'm cheap, I don't like to waste money. We haven't got anything tangible yet for us.
Right.
So it's very concerning of the board to go willy-nilly to say, we're gonna do this, which down the road might prove that it was a good thing to do, or maybe it will prove that it's not. But right now, to really push the buttons upstairs, if we had some tangible evidence, then we could make some stir the pot.
So relevant to the discussion, so there are 4 homes in Charlton that did not connect to the water line, even though they were given free access to it.
Well, that was your other hat I wanted to.
Right, so 4 houses didn't connect. I learned from DEP that now those wells are being tested for PFAS and have also become positive. So now they've got dioxin and PFAS in those wells. How they determined what they were gonna test was, if you consider the landfill 0, 500 feet away, they tested wells. When you get a positive on a well, it extends the ring 500 feet from that point, another 500-foot radius. The problem with here is my house is 1,800 feet away from the airport, which has contamination from a avgas leak, and 2,300 feet from the edge of the pile, or where the testing wells are, that are now becoming hot on our side
Oh,
of
yes.
the landfill.
Yeah, yeah.
So there isn't a single well in Southbridge that's within 500 feet of the contamination zone, so you'll never get one within 500 feet to then trigger more testing. We're gonna have to set our own radius and say, let's test the closest 1 or 2. So there's nothing to trigger it by the arbitrary 500-foot number. I mean, water underground will travel much more than 500 feet.
True.
It's a ridiculous number, but that's the number the state picked, or is what's on the books at DEP for their testing protocol. So, I mean, truthfully, this board right now could add an agenda item and say, we're testing. You don't need to wait for the town manager or anybody else, because this board cares about health, not finance, not politics. So,
That is true.
I think you should, but I can't tell you what to do. I would volunteer my well as a testing site, as, and truthfully, myself and Georgie over on the hill just built at the end of the runway are the 2 closest wells in Southbridge. It's just crazy that we've got those 4 wells in Charlton that are being tested regularly, even though they're 500 feet away from the landfill, they're within the new protocol.
Yeah.
They're getting bottled water, they're getting filters installed in their house, regularly maintained by the town and or Casella. All these fantastic services for people that don't even live here. And we're not doing squat for our own people that live the closest to the landfill. They were tortured by it when that was the only road for those commercial drive.
That's true. That is true.
So, I'm careful in how much I push on this, because I do wear 2 hats in this town, but I also gotta think about my family's health too, so I'm gonna be getting a little louder. And I would hope this board would support my opinions, because I think they're reasonably fact-based. And that's all I have for tonight. Unless you wanna add an agenda, and then I'll stay.
Anybody on the board?
Me.
Stand up.
I'm kind of,
There's no diminishing return on short jokes, I'm just gonna say.
Well, it's because of the height of the microphones.
I'm kind of baffled. It's been over 2 months since this came up with no reply back, no nothing. It's no secret, Steve and I are friends. I have to agree with everything that he said. Born and raised in this town, pays his taxes in this town, and we are not taking care of our own townspeople, but we have no problem. Charlton's getting tested left and right. We have 2 of them that I know of right now that are bad in Charlton. No problem spending, whatever, $750, $2,000 for the testing. I would like to make the motion that we test the houses. The closest ones that are immediately around the airport, whether it's Steve's house, his neighbor across the street, and
Clemens.
that first house on Clements Hill, we test them. This town has money in the landfill account that I don't see why we can't use that money to pay for this testing and find out what, if anything is going on with those wells. He's a town citizen, he has the right to have his well tested because of what's going on up there, and not on his dime. I agree with him, and I support him, and yes, he is my friend. So that's my motion.
write that down and put the specifics, because I don't know if it was too vague to where I understand what you want tested.
I would like, so my motion is to have 555 Pleasant Street. I'd have to get the actual addresses of the houses that surround the perimeter of the. is
The
that
house
north-
before
north-
him.
North side?
The house before him is 555, I believe.
I'm
That's him.
555.
Or you're 555.
535 is
535, yep.
The one across the street, the brown one,
the log cabin.
the log cabin, and then the one on Clements Hill, I believe are the first three closest houses surrounding the airport runway on, what's that, the north side?
On the south side,
South side.
South side.
No, south side.
south side. So you're talking, George's farm there? That would
Yes.
be- That's one of the closest.
That one,
Okay.
that the town have those three wells tested, and that the money, in my opinion, should come out of landfill royalties. We have money in that account.
That's true. That would be a logical place to get it from, yes.
We already submitted, like, to get answers, like, if we go ahead and do this, what does that mean for us?
We just wanna know if, I would like to find out if, because now the draw, because all those people in Charlton on
H-foot.
Edgefoot Road
Yeah.
tied in.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're not using the well, so they're not
It's not
drawing
taking it that way.
that water going that way anymore, cause they're not pulling from it. Has that water shifted because now all the pull is coming towards the Southbridge side, on the south side of the runway? Is it affecting those houses right there? And the way Steve explained it, and he's right, their house is outside the 500-foot perimeter, but you're never gonna get to that 500-foot perimeter
And I
because
agree
of the
that they
gap.
should be
Yeah.
tested, but
Let's
then,
see if it's migrated that far right now, so we know whether or not it has. And then at that point, if any well, whether it's on Clements Hill, Steve's house, his neighbor across the street has tested, my opinion from there, you need to go another 500 feet. No different, in my opinion, we're not taking care of our Southbridge residents. We're taking care of Charlton,
And
who
there is,
doesn't pay
there is a
taxes.
certain amount of liability to doing this testing.
Yes,
Oh,
But
there
this
is.
board's purview isn't liability, it's health.
No,
right.
it's safety of our town citizens, and let's find out. We're not gonna find out unless we do
And
the
and I hope
testing,
my
either
well's
way.
clean.
Did
I
you-
really do.
Oh, of course we do.
I hope it's clean.
Obviously, I'm sure
Did you
do,
say
yeah.
something about, I'm trying to find it,
I've got, according
I
to
got the
this,
three addresses on Pleasant Street.
according to the
Clements Hill
assessor's
and
list, it's
George's Farm.
555, 535, 533.
Right, I'm trying to find,
Clements Hill, which George's farm?
I'm trying to find out the closest property.
The closest one's gonna be that White House, but in my opinion, Casella owns that.
I mean, we're
house.
still gonna have a
They should
problem
pay
with the
for
water line, but that's more of a
That's a whole
DEP
nother
issue
ballgame.
for water system operations, that's not related to contamination.
Okay, I have,
They're intermingled, but they're not.
What would,
I
what was
think, I
that?
think
The
it's,
DEP is requiring us to run the water line
208
anyway.
Clements Hill?
Wait a minute, Gus, please,
So
I can't hear
DEP
you.
is gonna require us to run the water line anyway, because when the town built Commercial Drive,
It's gotta be in a house.
it did it with the intent of completing it back to Pleasant Street, and
Casella
then
owns
all
that
of the
house.
funding and the
Because
will
there's
to
nothing,
do it, and,
no, this is Mark Peterson.
but DEP
It was Church.
has recognized that as a dead-end water line that runs to the airport, and
It's
they,
listed as his house.
they have decreed it, and I don't have the final report yet, but I was given a preemptive heads up, that they're gonna decree that we finish that water line, which means it's happening anyway. But if the wells test positive, it gives the town leverage to say, hey, Casella, get back involved again. You know,
That's
contamination
true.
actually
That it's
helps the
plausible-
town.
that's- It may be plausible that the contamination originates from the dump,
Right.
okay?
Right.
It may. That's, but you need more concrete evidence,
Yeah.
scientifically based
So
approach.
on the,
So,
on the Charlton side, they had detection levels of, at the time, just dioxane. And even
Well-
though it was underneath a drinking water standard, because it was present,
Yeah,
DEP said, it's the landfill, bang the gavel, and it was over.
yeah.
with dioxin,
With
but with
dioxin.
PFAS, no, it's not been directly attributed that that's the source.
Not yet, yeah.
Not
Yep.
yet.
Not
Yeah,
yet,
not yet,
it's
but still,
thought of, but no proof.
no proof. Correct.
As of
That's
yet.
where we are.
Although it has
Now,
been
coupled
found
with
in
the
the
fact
landfills
that
all
we
over.
do not have well regulations here. Private well,
Right.
private water supply. Okay, we do not have anything here in Southbridge. to utilize, just to let
Yeah,
the board know.
318, I think.
If we had it, maybe
It's the white
more
house.
conducive
Yes.
to the
Yeah.
situation that we get.
Yeah,
We
it's
do
two
not.
way.
And it may also help PEG to procure funds if we're looking at contamination as well.
Maybe.
Certainly,
So,
good point, that's valid.
To a certain extent, contamination would
Process.
help us fund
Yeah.
it. Otherwise, if we're just running a water line, it's all out of our
No,
pocket,
sorry.
100% out of our pocket.
What's the limit?
Yes.
For the tune of like $4 million that I brought to the board this summer.
And I would echo your sentiment too, I mean, public health and safety is paramount. And,
Yeah.
you know, with the residents here, to take care of the residents, just like,
So,
said.
And I don't disagree with taking care of the residents, but I wanna make sure, because this is gonna fester on social media when people watch it.
Yeah.
We're not taking care of Charlton. When that whole agreement there came to fruition many years ago for the new water system, you're
Mhm.
right.
Right.
I thought there was three, but now there's four people that
From
said,
what, from what DEP told me, it's 4.
okay. And when they started doing that testing, they weren't even tested for PFAS.
Correct.
The recent meeting I went to that we were on, they're now starting for PFAS, just because it's so prevalent
Right,
out there.
it was dioxane and heavy metals.
Correct.
Right.
And then they had their X amount of year contract with the loop, for
Yes.
lack of a better term,
Yeah.
that triannually, they're gonna test the wells.
Something like that.
And this is where it came up that they did the test again.
Mhm.
And, that's why it's there. It's not us. It's got nothing to do with the town of Southbridge. This is Casella's agreement with DEP.
Right.
Correct.
For the solution, yes.
That being said, should Southbridge people be ignored? Absolutely not. But the issue with testing the wells over there is a legal requirement made up in law before us. So this case we're talking about now is a whole new different issue.
Mhm.
And I don't know how much we can play on that one, except to say it's happening. So,
so I'd like to make a motion
we
that
have these
we
three
test
on
five
Pleasant.
fifty-five Pleasant Street, 535 Pleasant Street, 534 Pleasant Street, and 318 Clements Hill, which is the houses immediately surrounding the southern side of the airport.
318?
Yeah.
And if I could point out, the
Okay.
current guidelines set forth by DEP are just guidelines. Since we do not have regulations, we don't have actual parameters to fulfill with private water. Those are only guidelines, they're very subjective. Without
318.
concrete regulations, it's
And-
open-ended.
And the testing should coincide with the same testing that was done on the wells in Charlton. So you
Well,
have
that was my other point. Test for what?
test for the same stuff they tested for this last round that we just got the results on.
So that's gonna be
PFAS,
VOCs,
VOCs,
PFAS, and heavy
I don't-
metals.
Utilizing those same
the same
parameters.
parameters that we
I
just
don't know
did.
that they tested for VOCs in Charlton. I asked for it because of the aviation gas leak at the airport and our proximity.
So-
I don't know that they tested, but they may have.
Alright, so the parameters are what they tested there in the VOC because of the gas leak we had at the
Right.
airport.
So yeah, it'd be dioxane,
Dioxane,
VOC,
VOCs.
PFAS,
PFAS.
probably heavy metals, because that's what they're testing for coming out of the landfill testing wells.
Yeah, at least I hope not.
The heavy metals.
But if it's
And PFAS.
open-ended, we can
Okay, I just
test
want
for
to clarify,
whatever.
according to the assessor's
can.
list.
Because I know-
We can use those as guidelines.
Guidelines.
Again, but.
And then you would use
know,
the drinking water standard as a
Standards.
guideline for MCLs.
MCLs.
Right, right.
They were doing, as a matter of fact, 6 PFAS compounds.
Yeah, that's what the state looks for, is the
Right.
PFAS 6, they call it. And
Yeah.
Correct.
I think it's gonna be under 20 parts per billion, and it's going down to 6 parts per
20,
billion,
20 nanograms per liter.
Yeah.
PPB.
And I'm trying to see, I was just quickly trying to see that if there was anything else. But the big thing I see here, or so far, was the 6 PFAS. But if it's gonna follow the same parameters, because there was more than PFAS, Cause when they started that, they weren't even testing for PFAS.
Right, that's
Right.
nothing new this
I
quarter.
wanna make sure
They
it's
just
that and
started.
the VOCs though. I
Right.
wanna make sure VOC's added on that because of that split we had at the airport
Mhm.
years ago. So it's
Okay, so we use
555,
this one.
535, 534, and 318.
318 is owned by Casella.
Doesn't matter, it's
I'm
the
just- I'm pointing
location
out,
of the,
and I'm thinking that,
I don't care who owns it, it's a location within that landfill.
yeah, I know.
And
Well,
the
I
only
was-
question is, the last house on the left, if you're going up Clemens,
It's 201 or
is-
208,
I got 475.
according to the 475.
475, but that's a ways, that's a lot further back than
Nope.
that White House.
Doesn't exist. According to the assessors.
Yeah, I'm
it
not
doesn't
sure what number
exist.
the log cabin is.
The one I've got for the highest is
Next
208, Clemenceau.
I'm not sure what number it is. I think so.
405. No, there's a 405 Clements Hill is George Clements' house. 405, that's this one.
So we go with these four, start with these four?
These four.
Mhm.
And.
If you worry about the numbers, you could say the last three on Pleasant Street and the last on Clements.
Yeah,
And
that
we'll
makes
start with
sense,
that, and the TM can
That's
figure out
easy,
where the
yeah.
money comes from. That has nothing to do with us.
Right.
right.
Okay, so you have that,
That's my motion.
you have that motion?
I'll
But
second
he-
it, that's been seconded, yes.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I know,
Well,
maybe,
you Alright,
So the motion
For the-
is,
what is the money?
wait a minute, for the ease, because when you look at the tape later,
Yeah,
it'll probably be more, say it again, please, sir.
the motion is that the town test the wells at the following addresses. 555,
555,
534,
534,
535 Pleasant Street.
that's it. 3 locations,
Yeah,
Pleasant
Pleasant
Street,
Street.
okay.
And 318 Clements Hill.
Yep.
Clemens Hill,
Yeah.
And is this setting a frequency or just a single test?
single,
We're gonna-
yes, the, single test?
Or are we setting a testing frequency here?
I,
We could do single test and see where it goes.
Let's see,
Yeah.
let's start with that, and then
Let's-
we'll see
let's
that.
do that
So
now,
318 Pleasant Street,
Well, we're poking the bear, let's
Three-
poke once.
I'm sorry, 318 Clements
And-
Hill.
Clemens Hill, Clemens Hill Road?
Yes.
Yes.
Clemens Hill Road.
Clements Hill Road.
We're gonna use the same
about
standards
4 or
that
5
they did in
Clements?
Charlton, but we're
Same.
also gonna add VOC.
Okay, so same drinking water standards, with the
This is-
same MCLs, parameters,
Yep.
alright?
But include testing for VOC as well.
Well, okay. And again, one initial test.
To start with,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
At
What
this
about this
time.
address, 405?
Which one's for?
That's
You
George
gotta put
Clements'
it on the
house.
map. No, that's way down. He's way down.
We're getting the ones that surround the immediate close.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
We're
I
gonna
like
start
that.
on-
And how
we're
is
gonna
he
start-
405
he's a good
so far
distance
down?
from-
We're gonna
that.
start on the perimeter,
Yeah, I know, I
see
wanted
what
to
these
do that
things
too.
are, and then if it needs to be expanded,
Then we can add another 500 foot or whatever we decide, but this is the beginning, so that's my motion, please.
and then at least we can see if there's a flow,
Right,
which
Right.
might change the number value,
right.
but make like a plume in
We're
certain
starting.
areas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the best scientific method, really. Test your closest wells and then let it guide you.
Mhm.
It's just,
And I'm not a
your thing,
scientist.
you're outside that 500 foot parameter,
Yeah.
because there's nothing in between.
Right. Unless you wanna drill a
That's
hole through the new
what we
runway,
want.
that might make somebody mad.
So that's my motion,
That's your motion? Okay.
Second.
Second?
Yeah.
Okay.
thank you.
Anything else on this motion and second? Hearing none, all those in favor?
In favor?
Opposed? Seeing none, unanimous of the board.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate your support.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Let's hope it's negative.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good, I'll call you on the other stuff I have. Okay, so,
All right.
to finish citizens forum, is there anybody else in the audience that wants to discuss anything that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on. Presentations, we have none today. Number 6, discuss rules for speaking at meetings to take any action. I put this together. I spoke to some past health chairs. Got some insight. And, it was, we have some rules, like for having quorums and stuff like this, but we had no rules to control citizens forum. So what I did, and I'm not smart, I've been just doing this for a while, is I basically cloned 99.9% of this out of the council rules and
That's what I
regulations.
figured, yeah. Plus,
Why we create the wheel.
Right.
The only thing is, I can't remember, I wanted to, I did add the second paragraph that a non-resident, because it wasn't addressed, I don't believe in the council rules. If a non-resident wants to come up, they can speak with the board's permission,
Right,
like they do in the council.
right.
Because we may have town employees, that first paragraph takes care of town employees, should they have an issue. I just wanted you all to look at the time, the numbers, and see if this was palatable to you, or we change the durations. And if you like the whole idea of this thing. But at least to get some control so we don't have any filibustering. How's that?
I think it's fair.
I think it's fair to a motion.
Yeah,
Make a motion to accept it.
second.
No other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none? Passes unanimously. I'll send Patty an email also. She has this, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So-
she's got that.
She can add that in
Making notes
the
here.
packet, or whatever you call it.
Okay.
Okay. Takes care of that. All right, moving on. Number 7, Health Director's Report.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So I'll start with arbovirus, triple E. No new threats emerged, and activity levels have significantly decreased.
That's good.
That is, the mosquito life cycle has pretty much ended. Okay, so we're good with that. Fortunately, infectious diseases, COVID incidents and transmission have slowed, as evident with the new data. Okay, we have 16 confirmed and 2 probable. That is the October report, this current one, versus 34 confirmed and 24 probable, the September report. So that's a good sign as well. This made this, suggest a decline in the transmission rates spread in a geographic area. But we certainly have to be steadfast with the surveillance.
Yep.
Flu season is upon us. And COVID, again, showing signs of slowing, but it certainly can reemerge. And we are concerned about the outbreaks and the clusters.
Right.
Okay?
Have we seen any bird flu? Or is it the more standard kind?
No, no, no.
I don't think in the Northeast, no.
Probably not. We're probably not going to.
Was there, when you mentioned clusters, you were just using that as an example, but we don't have any clusters?
We don't.
Okay, not since the Center of Hope,
Correct.
okay, which is a good thing,
This is more spread out.
okay.
Moving forward.
And it'll pick up with holiday,
Assuming, yes, certainly, inside.
the usual.
As
does.
it usually does. Okay, so we do have to be ready for that in anticipation of higher counts. Blight update. I'll start with 120 Marcy Street. Court proceedings have concluded to remove the occupants. The decisions by the judge, housing court, was to set a date for all the occupants on the first floor. And the amount of occupants range from 6 to 10.
At any given time.
But the decision, and which is to be upheld, was to remove the occupants through the use of the sheriff's department.
Okay.
So, court will speak with the sheriff's department, transfer all that information and the judge's decision, and take it from there. not heard from the sheriff's department as of yet. This just happened last week.
Okay.
Okay, but again, it was conclusive and in our favor to have the dwelling unit.
Condemned, basically.
It was condemned but vacated.
Okay. So is there a normal time frame for them to do this?
Courts.
That is contingent upon the
That's the only
courts,
one.
yes,
No,
yes,
no,
you
I
know,
mean,
and
once,
I
once
guess
it's been done, the sheriff has the control to do it.
has the
So
control,
how long
and
does it
it's
take
really
them to do it?
contingent upon the sheriff's department, upon which date they said how, you know, how many people and
Mhm.
things of that nature. So it's really in their wheelhouse to take action.
So where do the people go from here?
Can I interject in something?
Sure.
And I want to bring something up, correct me if I'm wrong. Our last meeting, we, as a Board of Health, had concerns on why the hell these people aren't leaving.
Yeah, right.
Well, something that I found out, that when you and the other inspectors went there, I was told that the owner was present with vouchers for a hotel.
Correct.
The residents refused it,
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay? So, and I'm gonna keep some other things I found out private, but they refused it, so the offer was there by the homeowner, which is their responsibility.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. I get that.
This is not a communist country, you couldn't handcuff them and bring them out.
Mhm.
That's why it went to court,
Yep.
no matter how much you wanna handcuff them. The judge has given the ruling.
No, I get that.
I don't know what there is for a time. I don't know if the judge gave the time, I don't know if you saw the paperwork or it's with the town attorney. But now it takes it off of the town police department.
No, I get that. I
Not
get
that we
that. I
have,
get
they
that.
don't have enough to do, but the Southbridge Police Department will be doing a, backup role, or an assistant
Correct,
role,
Yeah,
correct.
I get that.
to point
I get
people
that.
at a sheriff.
I get that.
Yeah. And that time frame, I did see the order, it was immediate,
Okay,
okay? Again, assuming that lag time and that time span to contact the sheriff's department, have all that information transferred, all the
Right.
legal documents, and then for the sheriff's department to take action.
No, I understand that,
Sure.
but that doesn't answer the question, where are they going?
Well, that has been worked out in court, because when this was handled, the owner was present, so the
Okay.
owner is responsible. And again, just as the chair
I heard
said,
that. I
he
get
has
that. I get
identified that he is more than willing to place the individuals, in a hotel slash motel
No, I
for
get that. I
temporary.
get that.
Subsequent to
Yeah.
that, I don't know what the, other remedial measures he may take, or what the legal obligations are for the homeowner.
and a lot of them weren't even tenants.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, you
I
know,
get
they're
that,
just
yeah.
people that were squatting in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good point.
you know,
And,
so they're not.
in the past,
Yeah.
when we've had things in my previous life, you can offer these people someplace to go. That is under the liability of the town and the owner.
Right.
And then when they say, the heck with you,
Yeah.
in non so pleasant words,
Mhm.
I got a place of my own.
Mhm.
Okay.
Discussion done.
Yeah, very good.
Correct, correct. So with,
The concern is to take them out of that dangerous
No, I
situation.
get that. I get that.
It's deemed completely
I get
uninhabitable,
that, I get
condemned, the
That's on
severity of
the
it.
first floor, right?
The first floor, just
Okay.
the first floor. So nonetheless, this was a positive move in the direction.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, I agree.
Um,
Absolutely.
And now it's just really waiting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
If it went by any other avenue, it would have been a very dangerous
Yeah.
situation.
No, I get that.
Our,
I get
our,
that.
our discussions with the owner were positive to the fact that he does want to get inside this first floor and make the unit habitable again. There is considerable amount of work, but he said, good faith, he will keep it vacant, pull all the necessary permits, and, await other
Let's
tenants.
hope he does it
That's
quickly.
good.
There's
Good
11
to
other, 11 other units that are now looking for a place to go.
Very true. Yes.
You're right, you're right. And now he is working on the second floor.
Oh, that's the one that was vacant, right?
Yeah. it was
Okay,
vacant.
good.
They had some work,
So he can
nothing
put-
as considerable as the first floor.
He could put 2 back in service. That
But
would
that
help.
could, yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
absolutely, absolutely. So that's a positive there.
Good.
Good.
I also want to mention 743 Main Street. I have given the paperwork to Attorney Caprera to petition the court to enforce the state sanitary code.
Mhm.
So that will be moved into court. The correction orders that were issued fell on deaf ears.
Is that
No
the
action
brick?
was taken.
Shirley
Is-
LeBlanc's.
Is that the brick or the
Shirley
wood?
LeBlanc
It's not the
Estate.
Is that
The
the
large-
initiative that's boarded, that's
The
gonna?
Yeah,
one
it is
right
boarded,
next door, yeah.
but unfortunately, the lower boarding has been removed.
Maintenance sales.
Um,
Let's
Yeah.
talk to LeBlanc's.
That was the Sale Street one, okay.
There's
Yeah.
evidence of activity there.
It's the one you showed
And
me
people
last
entering the
time.
building.
Okay.
Okay, by pulling on them.
Right, right.
So that coupled with the fact that just from tires to rubbish to a lot of trash
Right.
that is accumulated in the months.
Mhm. Okay.
And as I mentioned, orders were issued coupled with 21D tickets, which have not been paid, and orders were not complied with. So action had to be taken.
How about 757, is that still secure, the one next
It is.
door?
Yeah, they doubled, the owners, came to,
I know you're working in conjunction
into
with
our,
Teddy.
and with Ted, and
Yeah.
the owners
Ted
came
and
in
Mike.
both to see the building department and myself. I just saw a slight increase of trash and rubbish there, which
Mhm.
they took care of.
That's good.
There was also and it is, a garage there that the doors were pried open and people were not actually really going inside to stay, but filling it with items such as mattresses
Mhm.
and other extraneous. So it started turning into a little bit of a dump site again inside.
Okay.
So they curbed that, they actually, put on some plywood to secure it,
Mhm.
locks,
Okay.
did that, and they went around the perimeter to make sure, because that, again, that went from the building department for security.
Okay, that's good.
So they were very reactive.
Good,
Good.
but it was the other one that had the squatters.
Do we,
Yes.
do we as a Board of Health have any type of concern with that 743 property as far as there's been a large truck parking on that property? And that is a vacant property, but there's been a large, like, moving truck that's been parking now.
I have not
On
seen
that
it.
side, so it's actually parking
On
on
Ash Street?
Ash Street.
Street. Well, that's where the tires have been found, the accumulation, where I first noticed.
That's what I noticed, and I went by a couple of times, and there's no large, there's no letters on it, no logos on it, but like a large U-Haul type box truck there. Like
Hmm. And it's just sitting
CDL
there?
type truck, not a van style, one of the big long 20-footers has been there, so I
Yeah.
don't know if that's,
Maybe we can drop a line to Shane and have him,
Yeah, that's the
it
first
is
I've
a
heard of
vac-
it.
it is
I
a vacant
wouldn't know.
property that we can't find any, I don't know if
but there
this
is
a
a
Longcat
town
family.
bylaw on oversized vehicles parked on residential properties, residential roadways.
Right, so I don't know if it's something we should just keep an eye
I
on, maybe,
will, I
you
will
know.
make note of that,
Okay,
okay?
I
Especially
noticed-
if it's not there all the time. What is going on?
Yeah,
Right,
you know,
that's
I
a
don't know if
question.
it's a neighbor that works for the company parking it there overnight.
Human
or if
trafficking?
it's- You never know.
Don't laugh, it's
No, let's
happening
hope
in this
not.
town.
I know,
It
let's hope
is,
not.
big time.
Okay, I'll make a note of that.
And also, could I add one? Could you take a look at the Royal Oaks again?
The
Royal Oaks, the country club over Morris Street?
oh,
Because
country
I had passed a message on to, come on, Brady, Mike, our building inspector.
Yep,
And about the fact that it was open, so,
again,
yeah, again.
Oh, yeah.
so pride,
It's,
Right out,
it's
locks,
mostly, it's
cut.
mostly the windows,
The
actually.
windows.
Yeah.
When
I
I
think,
walked,
last
I
I
see.
saw it, there was a door, the door on the side was open too.
yeah. The last time I was there, it was secured,
It is in there.
but, and unfortunately, again,
Have we got any reply or response back from the owner of that property? I know we reached out in the past. Have we heard back from them or?
not recently, but when they did board it up,
Okay, I
actually.
didn't know if we actually had physical contact or not yet with the.
I think the police have had more contact with him because of the,
We've,
Right.
yeah, the police,
Trespassing or
trespassing, and then,
And they've
as
been
you
still
recall there was the motorcycles,
Yes.
Yes.
right? So
It's
that
been-
was
it's been-
police,
that's been
they
quiet.
had a presence there,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's declined
That's
a
been,
lot.
that's been
they
good,
had a
yeah.
chase,
that's my
they
understanding.
had a chase night before last.
So
Again.
we were in contact with the owner's
Into Woodland
associates. and which the word got to him.
Okay.
Again, it took us a little bit, but again, the reactivity was slow, but finally, the windows, the doors were all secured. We went there
Oh, good.
to verify it,
Okay.
and unfortunately now they've been pried open and
Yep.
removed. So, we will contact the owner again, and
Okay.
issue orders if necessary.
Sure.
Okay?
And I'm really concerned about squatters.
That's what I'm getting nervous
You know,
about now.
the
Right.
cold's coming, where are these homeless people going? There's only a
Exactly.
couple churches.
Yeah.
The town bylaws do not have a place, I don't think the town, zoning allows for shelters, except on emergency basis.
Well, I mean, St. Luke's is the
Um,
only one that's available. There was one over on Sales Street, but it's closed. So,
There was one on sales for,
yeah,
veterans.
exactly.
They were going to the church next to Duncan's.
Yep.
I haven't seen much around, but my point is when they go to places like that, that's secure, that's got heat, that's safe.
Right. This is.
Go to something like the golf course, go to one of these other places. We almost lost the neighborhood the other night because of the
absolutely.
conditions.
Yep.
And we don't need any other, we don't need loss of life
No,
or
I agree.
whatever
I agree. Absolutely.
for that type of stuff because owners don't wanna secure their property.
Right.
Okay.
No doubt
Make a
there.
note of that. Okay. Moving forward, last week, the health department, in conjunction with the building department, met with the assistant attorney general's office to review 19 Crestwood and 131 Dennison Cross Road and evaluate the conditions firsthand. So, that is for receivership reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be awaiting they requested a thorough report, more from the building department, the specifics, the structural deficiencies and things,
Mhm.
as technical as they can get, Ted and Mike, in order to pursue action against the owner.
Okay.
And the owners are the USDA.
Okay.
Alright, so, again, a move in the positive direction. Those properties haven't been in that condition, I understand, for years and years.
Have they
before
been
my
able to
time.
get inside to see what,
Inside Crestwood,
what
yes.
kind of condition?
And unfortunately with Crestwood, it was noticed that the locks were broken,
Yep.
jammed out. Somebody was getting in. We didn't see direct evidence inside, but
Had that been,
Suspicious.
had that been sealed since we visited? Because I remember when
yeah,
we visited,
it
they
was.
were open
It
too.
was.
So,
We'll call the
We've gone back a
coppers.
number of times back and front.
Okay.
I would look at it all the time,
All the
but this
cop-
time
coppers
around, we
still
were
there?
surprised, totally off,
Okay.
and that's concerning to all of
Definitely,
us.
definitely.
So I definitely think with instituting their involvement, Assistant Attorney General's office, we can really move forward with
Hopefully.
getting some resolution. But we were able to get inside of Crestwood, which really warrants a full gut
Right.
repairs.
Yeah.
Looking inside Dennison Crossroad, not as severe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless it got moldy.
Right.
Yeah, but again, we haven't been inside.
Right.
Neither has the building department for that purpose. Most of what we had looked at the exterior conditions from
Right.
the roof to the
Right.
siding,
Yeah,
foundation things,
Right.
which all needed repair on
Mhm.
both. Okay. That concludes my flight update.
Was Patty, able to get enough people for the flu clinic? Do you know?
She's very close. I think she's at 23.
Cause that's next month, right?
I'm gonna have 25, I believe.
We need 25.
Okay. So anybody out there wants flu shot, sign up.
Anybody here want a flu shot?
What?
We are very close.
You want it?
Okay.
That is a goal for them to reach the 25. I don't believe they will not come if they.
I just hate to see things get thrown away when we can get them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I agree with
That
We
is-
have a thing, a resource thing
Yeah.
tomorrow. I'll advertise it when we're there.
Please.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And they have to register through Patty.
Yep, I
Thank
have all the
you.
paperwork at my office.
All right, so you're good.
I'm good.
All right, number 8, report from the town solid waste and recycling agent. That would be you.
Yeah.
Good morning. Wow.
So leaf and yard waste, that's been a challenge over at the DPW. Although it is open 6 days a week, the dumpsters are getting full very quickly. It's hard to manage it. It is, in my eyes, for the first time that we've had it in the yard going very well, but unfortunately, the property owners have expressed frustration. Nothing we can do without adding an additional dumpster and then increasing the cost. We're trying to keep the cost at a minimal right now. Curbside collection, however, does continue until November 30th, so that's always an option.
What is the frustration with,
How
that you're
quickly
hearing?
it's getting full,
Well, then it's working, because
yes.
with the exception
How
of
quickly
the
it's
few
getting full and
inconsiderate
Casella's not
people.
dumping it quick enough for them to go back and
The only,
refilling it.
if I may.
Except for a few inconsiderate people that dump on the
That
outside
dump
of the
it
gate.
outside on the
Yeah.
gate, yeah,
And then it becomes
Because
the,
they
all the
can't wait.
taxpayers' problem.
exactly.
I was at the highway department the other day, and I did see that, where they dumped outside the gate. The other thing I did see is, when the wind blows, it lands all in the DPW yard. That's the only negative part that I could see, as far as that goes. But I thought they were supposed to empty all bags, including the brown paper bags too. I
Oh, no.
noticed-
No,
No.
no, they don't have to
No.
empty, they
can
cannot
Just the
put
plastic
plastic
bags.
in there.
Plastic ones?
Yes, the paper bags can get mulched with everything else,
Okay.
yes.
But I did notice dumping outside the door,
Yeah.
and then the wind
Kids.
was blowing pretty good the other day.
Yeah.
Half that dumpster landed up in the parking lot.
Yep.
And I think
That's
that's the
unfortunate.
reason, one of the reasons why there was nobody there on the town's dime from your office on Monday. Because of the simple fact there was no place to put it, the dumpsters were full.
Yeah, yeah, we had one of the guys there from 8 in the morning till noon on Monday, veterans,
Yes, because the DPW was closed.
all right. But the water company was open, so.
Did they
the
have a
gate was
lot of
open.
action?
It was steady,
Okay, so it's worth it on a holiday
oh
like
yeah,
that. All right,
absolutely,
that's what I was gonna ask.
yeah.
My brother from a different mother.
Tomorrow I have a meeting with Casella. Anna will be joining us tomorrow at 11 o'clock to go over a little bit of the contract. Touch some base. We haven't met in, 6 months, I think, since this started. So we're having a brief
It's
discussion
been a while.
tomorrow. It
There
has
was
been a while.
the concerns about the different rates
That
of the
is
same
correct. The
size
municipal
dumpsters
schools, They
in,
weren't consistent. We're gonna
Correct.
discuss that. We're gonna discuss, why some of the trucks still don't have the town seal on them, the cameras,
yeah, well, they wanted to add trucks.
right, older vehicles.
Are those vehicles gonna follow the contract
Correct.
with the seals, with the cameras? If not, take them off the road.
Yep.
Go use them in another town.
Yep. The other issue that I'm having is that there are hundreds of leaf bags over at the landfill. Hundreds. And with this dry weather, all it takes is that one cigarette
Yeah, right.
and it's gonna just catch on fire completely. So the intent tomorrow is to
What-
find out what they're gonna do with that, if they're ever gonna
Are you-
remove it.
When you say a bunch of bags at the landfill, are you talking about where Casella decided to dump all the yard waste?
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted for the public, this was not illegal dumping.
No,
This is where they decided on their property
yeah,
to put all this yard, whether it's
Yard waste.
curbside or the residence dumpsters at,
leaf and yard waste dumpsters, yeah.
Is that
and with every,
considered-
huh?
Sorry, is that considered a mulching area? Doesn't the town have some
It
sort of?
is, it is,
I think that was part of the discussion for tomorrow, that you were gonna bring up on what's your intention.
Are you gonna leave it there? Are you gonna get it out?
You're gonna let it rot?
Right?
Are you gonna pulverize it so people can use it for fertilizer or whatever they're gonna do?
Compost, yeah.
Compost, thank you.
That would be good.
Senior moment.
That's what I mean, a mulch and compost
Yes.
area, I think we have one in that contract, there's something in there about that.
I think the term compost was in there,
Mhm.
but I don't know how much. I think that was more geared towards the pickup stuff, because they were picking up composting
We have a
materials.
compost site,
Yeah, we don't have one because that's in their wheelhouse. So that's the question on what they're doing with it.
And on another note, I've been in communication with Republic Services and MedTech to hopefully secure a household hazardous waste for the spring. So we gotta get the ball rolling on that one.
Piece of cake.
We'll see.
Did you bring up to either one of them on the Freon items?
No, not yet.
Okay, cause I think from the last one, when we saw the interest,
The white goods and,
the white goods and the window air conditioners and things of that nature.
Yep.
Which, see if that's gonna be financially wise, or it may be a bank breaker.
Mhm.
Okay,
I like to get someone to, collect the mattresses in Box Springs too. Hopefully we can get something
That'd be
for
good.
that day.
That'd be-
well, you know, it's a shame, because we just had that for the citizens. We had the tires, we had a good bring back for tires. People even came back a second time because they didn't know we had tires. And then this past week, you see on Facebook, where can I get rid of a bunch of tires? And now there's a bunch of tires up at the airport.
Yeah.
So if you're watching, you're gonna watch it on YouTube. Maybe you should wanna contact the police department, because there are cameras out there. We're not gonna tell you where, and it might behoove you for you to reach out before they do.
At 508-764-5420.
5420.
535.
Not reach out to you, reach out to police, because the pictures go to them.
That's true.
No reason to be pigs. Is that it?
I think that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone have any questions? No.
No, there's still the normal hurdles. Okay. Nothing?
Nothing. Shocking, right?
Shocking. I'll just continue to talk to your son. All right,
Whoa,
he talks to me. He's got something.
Yeah, but he's
Uh,
not,
Huh?
I had nothing, I didn't say nothing about it.
All right.
I forgot Gail was here.
On number 9, tonight we have 3 commitment letters. I gave them all out to you.
Yep,
That
so-
Maritza secured those today. So, listen, I'll share. 9A. I don't want you to cry. 9A, vote to accept and sign the FY 2025 third quarter trash bill commitment in the amount of $631,580.
motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
It's a lot of money.
Opposed?
Yeah. Good.
So voted. 9B, vote to accept and sign the FY 2025 third quarter trash bill commitment in the amount of a negative $585.
So moved.
Discussion?
What's this one for? A negative one? Reason being?
Reason being on corrections of, one of the corrections was on your mission on getting bills when your house has not got an occupancy permit.
Oh, right, okay.
And then there was some miscues on the amount of units with some typos and stuff like this. So this is all
Okay,
to,
good.
Michelle is very anal on crossing the Ts and dotting the Is.
Perfect, that's what I wanted to say.
So that applies to both of them?
So that's the reason for the different ones, but she
Okay.
puts them in different categories for her filings, if you will. So I have a motion and a second for B. All those in favor? Opposed, seeing none, unanimous. C, 9C, vote to accept and sign the FY 2025 third quarter trash bill commitment in the amount of a negative $6,885.
So
Motion.
moved.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, unanimous, all those present, thank you. Okay, members forum. Let's start quickly. Gil? Listen, I love you, man.
I know, everybody does.
Anything?
I have nothing.
Except the solar guy?
Solar guy?
Gus?
Just one quick thing, I just wanted to mention that, we had the second, housing hearing, the
Yeah.
other day, and it was very well attended, both in Spanish and English.
Yeah.
The discussion was very good, so the reports are gonna be coming out relatively soon. We haven't yet formally set up another like follow-up meeting with CMRPC, but we probably will, and, I think the process is going well.
Okay, good. I was unavailable. I think that was what, Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went, I started work at 6:30 in the morning and then leave work till 10 at night, so
That's like,
I'm lucky I'm not on the side of the road somewhere. My dear,
I wanna say.
that was all for you, right?
Oh,
Okay.
Thank you to Maritza, we collected a lot of jackets, a lot of coats, and we were able to bring them down to the fire victims yesterday. So those got
Nice.
delivered, they
That's
went directly from here to there, and so we were able to get, a lot of coats and jackets to those in need, and so, it was really, really great. Maritza always does such a great job, and we do such a good job making sure that the right people get them, so. Which brings me to my next, kind of thing I would like to discuss, which would be, maybe some kind of a contingency plan when we're talking about health and wellness as the Board of Health. I find that some towns have contingency plans, like when disasters happen, and I feel like this town just kind of,
Wings
like,
it.
it's just a lot, it can be a lot,
Pretty much.
yeah. And so I did speak to Chief Normandin, that we are gonna do something tomorrow, over at the senior center. There's gonna be different resources and different things. I mean, the town really came together, and, there's so much closed that they had to stop. But, it's really scary when these things happen. Obviously, a lot of folks, and I don't know why, just don't know about renter's insurance and how cheap it is. I mean, you can literally get a policy of like 25 to 30K for $100 a year. So,
Yeah.
and I just feel like we need to communicate that more, because it's really not always on the landlords to have to provide for that, because they gotta fix their buildings and structural and, so, but I just feel like I'd love to see more activity around like when large things happen like this, and how we can better, support people.
I know years ago we used to store some goods, like clothes and stuff like this. Storage areas are very difficult.
Yeah.
It was in the back room at the Armory and the mice got in. So unfortunately, all those good-hearted donations had to be tossed. So having a correct, proper storage area is the big trip hazard. But seeing how people came in, I think what we need, which 90% of the people, and this happens every time something like this happens, they don't realize that the landlords are not responsible for their personal items. And I think maybe working with Paul and getting a meeting like we did after the tornado for the public, whether it's upstairs,
Yeah.
and get some insurance companies, some insurance agents there, and really explain to the people that it's not your landlord not wanting to, it's because they're not required to, and you are. And there's that stumbling block and that big speed bump when it comes to this. And including pharmacies, because they lost all their meds. How long they gonna go before they get them refilled again, and that's a biggie.
Yeah.
Right, true.
And we had that with the tornado too. Okay.
but just
Let me
putting
know.
it out there, yeah, I'll keep everybody in the loop about what we decide tomorrow, and
Yeah. Twist Paul's on, let me know.
then we will. That's it.
Anything else? Sir?
I got two things. Since we discussed well testing earlier, I'd like to bring up the two houses that I know of that tested to the positive in Charlton
Yep.
that did not tie into Southbridge at the time when it went through. And now we heard that there's possibly an additional two that did not. Do we know if the town is covered for that, especially for these two that tested positive, saying that they're still not gonna tie in? That
The latest thing I got from
we are not held
DEP,
liable?
no, there is no liability.
There's no way.
Okay,
When I spoke to Jack about this, and he gave me this from DEP,
okay.
there was the arrangements with waivers on pricing or fees when they tied it. If everybody tied in, they wouldn't have to do this triannually well testing, cause they're all in
True.
They're tied in,
municipal
exactly.
tested water supply. So they're doing this. They're giving them water as a temporary basis, they're working with them, I think there's one of them that they're getting a filter system.
That's correct.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that one took it on their own.
As they should.
That they wanted a filter system, they didn't want water, potable water.
They
But
wanted
it's-
a system of reverse osmosis
Yes.
system, yeah, which.
Yes. Now, that being the fact, that was all spearheaded by Casella, because that's their deal,
Okay.
It was.
between that
And paid for,
and,
yeah,
and DEP.
and DEP.
Because that was in all the agreements with that whole spiel that went on up there. And then it would be a fight. And there was a fight with some of these, and I know one person that totally refused to get on the town water supply because of the simple fact that if you're gonna get on a water supply because your well is tainted, he didn't want to get rid of the well because he wanted to use it for his garden and his lawn.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Hope he's not going to any food in it.
Right.
You don't know anybody who drinks out of the sprinkler?
They do that too.
Okay,
yeah,
so
but-
this does not solve the problem.
No.
So the thing is with that, it's being worked on with the DEP and everything like this, and if the filter systems don't do it, I think they're the ones that throw down the gauntlet that you have to connect.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
It doesn't fall on this board, because this has been an ongoing thing with that whole project up there.
Mhm.
And it's being, that's why it's being monitored and tested by them.
They are responsible, yes.
Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure on that after, those two came back.
And the time period of tying in, that's beyond us.
Mhm.
That has expired. So
Oh, my
whether
God.
the town has to have them pay a tie-in fee and everything like this, or whatever the parameters are, that's beyond our scope of practice.
But there remains a conviction by the homeowners, either they want a treatment system
Mm-hmm.
installed, yes or no, or bottled water, yes or no, or
Right.
tie in. And, unfortunately, they're adamant.
Yep.
Exactly, and I just wanted to
And-
make sure liability wasn't
Nope.
going on,
Oh, right.
that's all,
Right.
for them refusing to.
And even with a treatment system, they're still testing. So if the treatment system does not solve the problem, then they're going to go further, and the only further thing is tying into the system, but a lot of people are adamant knowing I had free water, I'm not paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
No, that's true.
The other thing I wanted to talk about, I'm trying to get some point of information in regards to, the town just did their, I don't know, second or third round of water shutoffs in October, I believe it was.
Second round.
Second.
Yep.
So the
Second and last for
point
this
of
year.
information I'm trying to get is what is the legal part as far as, and I've heard different stories, so I'm trying to find if somebody can get it to me. If it is a single dwelling, it doesn't matter if their water is on or off. We cannot condemn the property. I would like to have like legal chapter, the whole 9 yards on that, because I'm just fed up with certain people bragging that their water's been turned off and they don't care and they don't have to pay it and they can go without it and because it's a single resident and I'm done with it. I would like to know if that's true or not, or if it's not true, we need to do something about it on the Board of Health side. with, you know, people living in a single-family house that has no water.
that is a fallacy. If a single-family dwelling has no potable water, okay, under the provisions of the housing code, okay, that is a condemnable issue, okay? Imminent health hazard. So
What
it's
if
either
they
single-family or multi, it doesn't matter.
And if we have children, then that becomes.
Doesn't matter if it's one individual, two individuals living in it, it's condemnable.
Without the lack of potable water over 24 hours.
I will see
It can
you
be
after
in
the
the-
meeting then.
Yes.
What if they have access to
And,
Which address of the two
The one that's being,
lived in?
I'll have to look it
He
up.
wasn't there. They weren't looking for him.
And again, I just should reiterate, that action can be taken. Normally, the health department doesn't, because there's always circumstances or situations where realistically, the water is turned back on within 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Well,
We're going on 3 years.
that been,
Well,
yeah, that being said, Jack had showed me a lot of emails since our last discussion with the water shut-offs that we rightly so as a board had a concern of how long these people are gonna be without water. I don't know if you've got updated emails and stuff, but when I spoke to him after the last meeting, at the second shut-off, there was something like 96% came in and paid and got their water turned on within 24 hours.
Correct,
Yes.
which is good, but then
Which
there was
is
another
good.
one that went almost
Which
a
is good,
month.
yes.
Which,
yes,
there was
yes.
this one individual that I know Mr. Splain here is affectionately speaking of, that has been going on 3+ years.
I believe I know
And talking about it
Mr.
like,
Kevin is referring to.
like,
Yes.
talking about it like it's not
And
a
he
big
doesn't
thing,
care.
and he doesn't care, and I'm like, that's a slap in the face to all of us.
I don't know where he goes in if he goes to the Y and uses a shower there, I really don't know, but where do you go to the toilet?
Yeah.
Because when you're in a municipal water supply, you don't have a toilet. When you have a well, as long as you have electricity, you have a toilet, but not when you're on town water.
I think
But I
it warrants
know- I know-
an investigation.
I know there was another
And it won't be
property
easy.
that went 3 weeks, it was totally off for 3 weeks, and it's, I just wanna make sure we stay up. I know it's a new thing that we're doing shut-offs since prior COVID,
It's not new.
it's new that we're.
It's new because it hasn't been
been
done in a
It's
while.
new that
Yeah,
we're,
right.
right, we started started action on it again.
But I did go
Since
after the
COVID.
last meeting, when the board showed the concern, I went and I saw Jack about the concern about the town being liable on shutting water off. Patty had said about some tenants that took the town to court. And they got an injunction.
Exactly.
That to
That
put
was
it back
the-
on. Jack told me, this has gone to court before. The town has the right to turn the water off. The town is not a public utility.
That's right.
When you are a public utility, like the electric company, on the things you were saying, you've got children, they need a nebulizer, you need a refrigerator, you've got elderly. There are
Exemptions.
circumstances that preclude the public utility from shutting off the utility.
Right.
This is a use fee, and the town's not a utility, so as far as, you're suing me because I don't have water. The town is not liable, and they took that to court many years ago, and they have a ruling on it.
The other thing, Roland, can you check in, do you know if our membership for the MAHB was paid?
I do not know, I was gonna ask.
That has been paid?
Has been
Okay, cause I know that
Gus?
was,
I
Gus
already-
got-
I know you got that,
Yes.
and I just wanted to make sure, cause I don't wanna fall behind on that, cause
Right, totally.
we had questions,
Well, I
last
had
time on
asked.
that, as far as when the dates were on it.
I had asked the lawyer that to check, and he had somebody had sent the invoice to you before you got back to me, so.
We received the invoice, should I say, has it been fully cleared? No, but it was received in our office, paid.
And it's processed.
Okay.
And do you have a contact with whoever is in charge of that at
And-
MAHB?
I think it's Cheryl, isn't it?
I
It
think
was
it
be
is.
The only reason why is
Yes.
because
One of our-
I just think
okay.
they need to they need to update their records.
That's,
Their records? Okay.
And
that's
do you
on
see
me.
who it was addressed to.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's
totally.
on
It
me.
should be going to him, yeah.
Well,
Well, actually, it could be going to him, but.
when I talked, last time I talked to Hugo, I asked him, on the new board members and the contact information, he says, send it to me.
Okay.
And I've just had, that
It's way
slipped my mind.
outdated.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
that's all board members, so that everybody can get information on education
Yeah.
and whatever comes up.
That's it, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Okay. I got a few things, I got a few questions.
Can I just ask you a question about what Kevin said? Why is it bad on you? I don't get it. If somebody has no water for 3 years, and I think I know who you're talking about, why is that bad on you guys?
Because the Board of Health is supposed to, it's a Board of Health issue. So it's making me look bad when this person goes around town and is bragging, basically, saying, oh, my water's been shut off for 3 years. Makes me look bad on my end, being a Board of Health agent,
Because
that we're not
here's-
acting upon it, because the way it's written is, it should be a condemned
Because the way this, the way the thing goes,
Condemned when verified.
when verified.
the way the thing goes,
I wouldn't take it personally. I would say that's that person's choice.
no, but there's
I'm not doing my
accountability.
due diligence why I was put on this Board of Health.
Right.
Which is to protect the town residents, and by protecting it, he needs to have this person needs to have potable water, which this person does not have in the
Right,
last 3 years.
right.
I'm not doing
So,
my
I
job.
don't know why not.
And this may also entail an administrative search warrant.
Correct.
Probably, that would be the
Verify.
issue, yeah, right. That would be the issue.
And it's only the thing to check the boxes because we're responsible for regulations and make sure they're enforced. And he's responsible for the hurdles on how to get them enforced. And when you have individuals like this that go down to local coffee shops and they see people at Big Y, and I was one of them, and just brags. I don't have a water bill anymore and I don't really care. Okay? You're taking a knife to a gunfight is what they're doing. Because
He will care.
you're forcing our hand.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why.
You wanna live
I
in squalor in
wouldn't
the
take it
woods by
personally.
yourself and keep to yourself and don't impact anybody? Fine, but if you're gonna be the town crier and spread it around, well, now you're gonna push buttons.
Don't take it personally, people. It's that person's choice.
We don't take it personally, but we have a duty to
I
act.
obviously did.
No, we have a duty to act. I've seen them take things personally, and no, that wasn't. All right, so you were done, right?
Yes.
I just wanna let you know, I attended a PHEP meeting, this past week. There was 40 people there from Region 2. They updated budget and expenses. They're gonna be updating some future training, but I have a question, Dan. We talked a long time ago, and I know we both have a lot of crap on our plates. And I talked to you and I said how I was gonna help. They had a dispensary drill last week or the week before. An EDS drill, it was a computer drill, take 3 to 5 minutes. Sign on to the DPH Web EOC. Nobody from Southbridge did it. I can't get on because I don't have access. You have to give me access for passwords and stuff like this. I'm willing to help, but I know we talked this a long time ago about getting me access. And when I did, because I did ask, and they said you gotta go through your director,
Okay,
okay?
I can get you. I can tell you, I did respond to that.
Contacts,
Yeah,
they said were not updated since 2023. Now, that being said, there is some catch points with Web EOC that I want to see who else, once we get this going, that they were going to have some training. Because if you looked at Web EOC and say, oh, the call down contacts are the same, and don't click any buttons, it's not going to even record you there. It's not going to record it updated. You know how some of these stupid computer programs are?
Yeah.
So if you didn't hit that checkbox, it doesn't show that you know, no changes needed, I looked at it. So it could be that. I used to work on WebEOC through MEMA. But this is a whole new different thing. And I don't even know my passwords and all that crap when I was deputy MD.
Well, I can tell you, the contacts were updated.
Okay?
I will double check on that and look into giving you access.
Yeah, because the other thing is Jamie was gonna put on some
Jamie.
training.
Correct.
Well, I shouldn't say that. She was looking for input on how many people wanted training, and it was 2 towns that already talked to her. But I didn't want to send her an email if I don't have access, because that's like putting a cart before the horse.
Okay. I will contact Jamie.
And then worst case scenario, you know, if other people on the board, we could have a little play on a computer thing on ourselves on how to,
Mhm.
and then it's up to you and who else for access.
What kind of training are you talking about?
How to use the program.
Mhm.
And you have to be very careful when you use the web EOC because it's live.
Okay.
So if you don't go into the training, we had this thing when I was on the emergency management and the FEMA thing. If you didn't go into the training portal and you just played like you were training on an event,
Mhm.
Framingham thinks you got an event going on, and next thing you know, your phones are ringing.
Oh, okay. That's good
I
enough.
want that. All right,
So-
all right.
And it stays in the record, because this is all, you know, all the stuff with the brush fires now.
Yeah.
This is how you put in for resources. You look for resources, you call for resources.
Yeah.
You just plug all the stuff into web EOC instead of making phone calls, and it goes out to Framingham, and then they get it for you. And then they reply back on web EOC. I mean, we did this during a hurricane, it works fine when you have a live incident.
Yes.
But when people play with it and
It screws everything.
don't go into that training
Yes.
portal,
That makes sense.
all of a sudden the sirens are going off because it's, you know, people are calling, well, what do you got going on?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Right. I think your town is burning
So
down or something.
it's,
Yeah.
it's this training to update people who are very overcautious about using it because they're afraid of making a mistake
Sure.
and how to use the
Live,
platform.
yeah.
And that's what she was talking about.
Okay.
And they're willing to, you know, there was 2 communities. I don't know who, but it didn't matter. But then we can get into it.
Okay, we'll do.
And I think that's, he hit the water skiff, I hit that, I hit that. And I think that's all I got. Anybody else? We're all done on that? All right. Discussion and next meeting date, Thursday, December 12th, 2024, 6 PM.
Okay.
Do I hear
Motion.
Second.
all those in favor?
I think you may have some of my paperwork with yours.
Okay. In that case,
Motion again.
Yep.
do I have a second?
All of
All those in
yeah,
favor?
All of that, no.
7:18.
No.
7:18.